Welcome, my friend, to our Operation Greatness podcast. I'm your host, Dan Klatt. I am the chapter leader of my own Operation Greatness chapter at operationgreatness.com/leader. You're going to want to make sure that you go there and sign up to lead your own Operation Greatness chapter. This is our second Operation Greatness chapter meeting. This coincides with our second day's lessons in leading your own Operation Greatness chapter, leading, inspiring, transforming, and liberating everyone connected with you, all of whom you are blessed to be able to be of greater service to every one of them. Okay, so just to reiterate, this is our Operation Greatness podcast. We're going through, my intention is that normally we're meeting for 30 minutes, and about 10 to 15 minutes is our chapter meeting, and then about 15 to 20 minutes, the balance of that half hour, will be with a guest, someone I believe will help you be of greater service to more people. So, probably within 2 shows, I will start reaching out to people to be a guest leader, inspired visionary leader on our Operation Greatness podcasts, our chapter meetings. And so look forward to that in maybe 3 shows from now. We'll see how quickly I integrate the in bringing guests on. And anyway, so let's get into today's Operation Greatness chapter meeting. So again, this is the second day's lesson, and we're going through, well, an important inspiration and aspect of how you are being of greater service to more people. Okay, so my friend, I want you to really hear this message because it's paramount to living your best life and honoring the fact that you are God's gift to the world, and you aligning your actions with being that gift. First of all, there's two sides of that. You're increasing the value of the gift you are. In other words, you're opening to being that gift. And what does that require of you? It requires you to, well, answer that question. What does that require you? It requires you to receive God that much more fully. We go back to this chart or percentage scale between 0 and 100%, and your work is opening fully to God from where you are now to 100%, and that's your work. Your purpose is to then extend God to the world as God's gift. So that also means extending love and being of greater service to more people. And your work is to open fully 100% to receiving God, and your purpose is extending God at 100%, no longer playing small, no longer limiting your level of success, happiness, joy, fulfillment, well-being, peace of mind, prosperity, meaning, impact, contribution, because you are here as God's gift to be of greater service to everyone you are blessed to have connected with you, online as well as in your community. And we're all doing that together through operationgreatness.com/leader, with you leading your own Operation Greatness chapter. And that's why we're meeting every day as our chapter through our Operation Greatness podcast. So This is a very, very important aspect of you being of greater service and you stepping into fully opening to God, receiving God, and therefore extending God, being of greater service to everyone you can lead, inspire, transform, and liberate. You as a consciousness keeper. First, just feel the words, consciousness keeper. And you might close your eyes and visualize this, see this, recognize this, acknowledge this, own this. I am a consciousness keeper. What does that require of me? And then you pause and you sit and you reflect and you answer that question. You contemplate that. You go deeply within your role as consciousness keeper. Okay, so let's do that right now. You might pause this podcast and just sit with this, feel this, flow with this, and what comes up for you. I recommend you do that. And I'm going to continue on because I'm going to guide you through that deeper awareness and recognition of your destined role as consciousness keeper. Okay, so what does that mean? What does that mean that I am a consciousness keeper or I am the consciousness keeper is even more succinct and direct and focused and inspirational as you are further being God's gift to the world. What does that mean? I am the consciousness keeper for the planet or for human collective consciousness, the collective consciousness of the human race, of our human family. I'm the consciousness keeper. That means I am here to keep the consciousness of the collective for the human race very high. That reminds me of how a rising tide raises all boats. We're all in this together, the collective consciousness of the human race. I'm the consciousness keeper. I'm here to keep us moving forward, keep us elevating our level of happiness, joy, fulfillment, well-being, success, peace of mind, prosperity, impact, contribution, meaning. I'm here to hold that focus, use my power succinctly, wisely, consciously, intentionally every moment. I had no idea that my role was so important. I know that these are the words I'm asking you to see in your vision, in your awareness, in your presence, to hold them close to you. And this is where you're giving your attention. And that's how you are then creating your life and how we are creating our world. So I know that where I am giving my attention, I am giving my power, and that becomes how I'm creating my life and how we, as an expression or extension of that, are creating our world. So this is incredibly sacred because my power is sacred, because I am sacred. I want you to totally acknowledge that, accept that, own that. You are sacred and your power is what you have as your tool to create your life and our world as the consciousness keeper, as the consciousness keeper for the whole human race. So sit with that, feel that. What does that require of you? It requires you to master how you are using your power, where you are choosing to give your attention, right? Is there any question about that? It's obvious, right? Because nothing matters more than where you are choosing to give your attention, knowing that is how you are creating your life, and from there, how we are collectively together creating our world. So I don't know whether you have seen the David Hawkins levels of consciousness. Like I talk about it as a percentage between 0 and 100%, and your work is to elevate yourself, to open yourself to being 100% open to receiving God, because that's the only way you can extend God is by first receiving God yourself, extending love, being of greater service to more people. So your work is opening and your purpose is extending, being God's gift to the world, which you are. And that's your destiny. That's your divine design, duty, destiny, dharma, to be more precise. So where are you on that percentage of 0 to 100 in terms of being open to receiving God, which is required before you can extend God, be of greater service, live your divine design, duty, destiny, dharma, and today consciously raise that percentage, like go from wherever to here, or to here, or to here. Open that much more fully, as much as you can today, right here, now, because that's well within your choice to, like this, open fully, open 100% to receiving God and therefore extending God as God's gift to the world. Are you ready? Open fully, breathe this in now. How much more did you elevate yourself? How much more did you open fully to receiving God as the consciousness keeper? You are the example, the inspired visionary leader. You're the example of what's possible for every one of us. So lead, inspire, transform, liberate, doing a little LITL more today than you did before in being of greater service, in extending God, in extending love, in being God's gift to the world. This is why you are here. So be that. So be it. So be God's gift, opening fully and extending fully, not holding back, no longer playing small, no longer limiting yourself in any way because of fear, doubt, worry, scarcity, lack mentality, or consciousness. No, you're God's gift. You're here to shine your light as brightly as the sun. So breathe in all of this, feel this, know this, acknowledge this, receive this, express this, extend this. That feels right because you know it is. It's why you're here. So be it. And we're doing this with your Operation Greatness chapter at operationgreatness.com/leader. So lead your chapter, bring everyone you can reach to doing this podcast as lesson 2, as part of our lesson 2 work through your profit partner link, leading every one of your online friends through stepping up, owning their power, being God's gift that they are as well, because they also are the consciousness keeper. So you see how important all of this is and how it integrates so well together with you stepping up, opening fully to God, and extending God because you are God's gift and you are the consciousness keeper. You're elevating the consciousness of the whole human race and of our whole planet. Because, like, remember back in your high school days or college when, let's say high school, when there was always that one smart kid who like threw off the grading curve for everyone else. Like, let's say the genius who always got 100s out of 100. And, like if the average was like 84, and that's because this person got 100 and then a lot of people got 60s or 40s or 30s, and like this person threw off the curve for everyone else. And I mean, that's you, right? You see that, right? You recognize that, you own that because you are the consciousness keeper. You're here to elevate the average. And I mean, like, if the average person is, well, actually, I mean, think about this yourself. Go back to our chart, 0 to 100. I guess we'll save the David Hawkins levels of consciousness for another day because it's very important. That deserves its own topic. And we're doing a greatness click on that pretty soon, by the way, too. So maybe that'll be where we talk about that. That's also part of operationgreatness.com/leader. Anyway, 0 to 100, to me, before, well, I call it fraud 1.0, before COVID began, I think humanity was, if we're generous, at about a 3% out of 100. And I think after COVID, I think we digressed or devolved when we're down to 0.5% now. That's where I see us. And by the way, you know the example of Einstein. I mean, this parallels, correlates with how much of your brain you are using. So reflect on this, integrate this consciousness keeping and where you are in the percentage 0 to 100, where 100 is completely open to God and 0% is 100% coming from ego, or you could say 100% knowledge is 100 and 0 is 100% ignorance. So, and you could say good and evil, and let's just say God is what we're talking about, or 100% closed off to God, which would be what ego is, right? So I think we as a society digress from 3% to 0.5%. And it's up to you to open to, like, if you can get to 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 or 90 or 100%, you as the consciousness keeper, especially where you recognize how important where you are giving your attention truly is, and you're opening fully to that, you're opening it, raising it, elevating it, the collective consciousness for the human family as the consciousness keeper. So nothing matters more than that, right? You recognize that, and now you're owning that, and now you're doing that. So, because remember how I said this parallels to how much of your brain you're using. You know what they said about Einstein, that whereas the average person used like 2 to 5% of his or her brain, and then Einstein used like just a little more than that, like 7 to 8%. And look what he did for the whole planet for generations to come. I mean, when did he do the theory of relativity? Was that in the 1930s, 1920s? I don't remember when it was. And yet it's still people talking about that and talking about his influence, whatever, like maybe 100 years later. That's pretty significant just for using a little more of his brain. So my knowing, my sense, and I want you to check this out with your knowing, your sense, your intuitive hunch or hit or gut feeling about this, that we only need to get to 10% open to receiving God, and we can move mountains and transform the world. Getting chills here. You're feeling that as well, right? So if society is only at, like we went down from 3% to 0.5%, we only need you to get to 10% open to receiving God and your God's gift to the world. So be it, so be it, so be it. So be God's gift. And just even 10%, that means you're still 90% closed off, restricting, living in limitation, lack. Why would anybody do that? Because how could you limit the unlimited? That doesn't even compute. And what is God other than the infinite and unlimited, right? So I mean, so you can see yourself getting to 10% open to God, right? Receiving God 10% and extending God 10%. And now, I mean, and you can see how much of an impact you can have just with that little amount of being open to the infinite and unlimited. And what about 20%? Can you imagine yourself opening to 20%, opening to and receiving and extending God? I think you can. and that feels right to you. That is your divine design, duty, destiny, dharma. As God's instrument, as God's gift to the world, as God's instrument for miracles, which you are, right? That feels good, right? So, I mean, hear all of this, and I want you to go back to the beginning and pause and reflect on each point I'm making in our podcast number 2, our Operation Greatness chapter meeting number 2. And I want you to post your thoughts, your insights, your examples, your inspirations, and link back to this video or to this podcast in your posts, because here you're here to lead, inspire, transform, and liberate. LITL doing a little more today to be of greater service for everyone you are blessed to be able to serve. So do that right here with this podcast, with our Operation Greatness podcast number 2. This second day's Operation Greatness chapter meeting, all through operationgreatness.com/leader, because you are here to be the inspired visionary leader. It is your destiny. It is your gift. It is your blessing to be. So be it. Okay, so let's go back into today's second lesson about being a consciousness keeper. At the bottom of the page is a headline which says, "Now think about where the average person is broadcasting." Where is the average person broadcasting? Because here's the fact of life. I call this the operating system of the universe, because it affects everything. It's about how we are creating our world. Where you are giving your attention, you are giving your power, you are creating your life, we are creating our world. So where you're giving your attention, you are giving your power, and that becomes your broadcast. And that then life, because you are prime cause, and quote, life is the mirror reflection of what you have put out there, of your broadcast. Life reflects back to you what you put out there. Everything is cause and effect. You are a prime cause. Quote, life is just the effect you created. So where you're giving your attention, you are giving your power, you are broadcasting that out to the world or to God. And then what comes back to you is that perfect mirror reflection. So, where is the average person broadcasting? Is it coming from abundance and love and being generous and being of greater service? Or is it more like, I'm disconnected, I'm afraid you're going to hurt me, I'm coming from scarcity, fear, lack consciousness, fear, doubt, worry. I'm afraid everyone is out to get me. The world's against me. The government's against me. What if they're listening to me? What if they're watching on my dumbing device? What if they're... And it's like, because I feel disconnected from God, because I'm shrinking, I'm constricting, instead of stepping into my divine design, duty, destiny, dharma, being God's gift to the world. And remember, Jesus Christ is the example of 100% open to God. And Jesus implored us to, well, his words, this is how it was first presented to me. That's how I remembered it. And then I realized, I looked it up later, the words that he said were a little different than this. But my pastor told me that Jesus said, all these things I have done, you will do yourself. And then what did he add? And so much more. So Jesus is imploring us to focus our power, become God's gift, which you are born to be, which is your divine inheritance. Get this right, master what you are broadcasting out there. You're God's gift to the world. You're God's instrument for miracles in the world. You are the consciousness keeper. So keep your consciousness high and elevate yourself following the leadership and inspiration and example of Jesus. 100 out of 100. All these things I have done, you will do yourself, and so much more. This is your divine design, duty, destiny, dharma. Is there any question about that? So be it. So be God's gift. So let's go back to this question that I asked, which is from our lesson 2 page from our second day's Operation Greatness chapter lesson. Now think about where the average person is broadcasting. Are they high on that chart between 0 and 100, or are they very low? Like I'm suggesting, the average, the mean for the collective consciousness of the human family is 0.5%. We're almost entirely closed off, disconnected from the infinite and unlimited. We're limiting the unlimited. How is that even possible to comprehend? So now I'm asking you to open at the level of at least 10%, and I'm challenging you to open to the level of 20%, knowing that just 10% is enough to move mountains and transform the world. How does that feel to you? Is that inspiring to you? Is that something that you know is your divine design, duty, destiny, dharma? This is you as God's gift, as the consciousness keeper. You realize that, right? This is your obligation, your responsibility. When you know you have the ability to do something, included within that is the responsibility to do that. So you know that right now, like by sharing this Operation Greatness podcast, our second Operation Greatness chapter meeting with all of your online friends, you have the power to transform their lives. You have the power to bring them, to gift them as God's gift to the world. You have the power to gift them financial freedom. Give them the gift of financial freedom because they are invited to, just as you are now doing yourself, go to operationgreatness.com/leader and step up and transform the lives, lead, inspire, transform, and liberate, doing a little more today and being of greater service, the lives of everyone they are blessed to serve, just as you are doing right here through operationgreatness.com/leader, because you are the inspired visionary leader. You, my friend, are the consciousness keeper. So this is imperative for you to get this right, to master how you are creating your life and how we are together creating our world. Is there any question about this? So be it. operationgreatness.com/leader. How is this inspiring you to step up, play big, not hold back anymore, no longer limit God from expressing fully in your life and allowing you then to extend God in the world through your work, especially leading your own Operation Greatness chapter? So what's required of you here? No more playing small, no more diverting your focus, which is your power, to things that don't matter. What are you going to give up now as a result of hearing this message and taking this to heart and being God's gift to the world? How much more do you believe in yourself? That's opening yourself higher, right? How open are you now as receiving God, as being God's gift? How much are you elevating the consciousness of the world, of our collective consciousness, by hearing this message, taking this to heart, and being God's gift as a percentage? Share your thoughts about all of this as you are leading, inspiring, transforming, and liberating every one of your online friends, everyone blessed to be connected with you because you're God's gift to the world, and you're doing a little more today in being of greater service. You're here as the inspired visionary leader for a reason because of the gift you are destined to be. So be it. We're doing this together through operationgreatness.com/leader. How is this inspiring you? How is this reigniting you? How much are you connected more with your power and your belief in yourself? And you're very clear about your purpose, how you are here to be of greater service to everyone you can quickly and easily reach with almost no time, energy, thought, or effort. Like all your online friends, you're here to transform them. How are you doing that now? What actions are you taking immediately after this Operation Greatness podcast, which is concluding very quickly now? How meaningful was this for you? What was most inspiring within this for you? Share all the posts that you're making from this chapter meeting in the essay that you are sending me, dan@danclatt.com, and make sure that you are leading everyone, blessing everyone, contributing more meaningfully than anyone else ever has in their lives through your Operation Greatness chapter. We're doing this together at operationgreatness.com/leader. Thank you very much. I love you. I believe in you. I know you're meant to do great things. Go out there and do me proud. You as God's gift to the world, you as the consciousness keeper, as the inspired visionary leader. It is your destiny, it is your honor, it is your blessing to be. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.